Hello and welcome back to another nail video. Today I am going to be filling in my polygel nails. I did these nails probably a month ago, maybe 3 weeks. I'm not exactly sure, but today I am going to be filling them in. So starting off, I am using my Melody Susie e-file and my 5-in-1 nail drill bit to remove my gel polish. And I have my e-file set to about 7 RPMs, and I'm just gently moving it across the top and the sides of the nails. I'm not applying too much pressure because I want the e-file to do all of the work. I also try to keep my finger balanced in between my thumb and my pinky. That way the nail is sturdy for me to go across. And once I removed all the gel polish, I decided I wanted the nails a little shorter. So I'm just using my nail clippers to cut the nails down. Today I'm going for short square nails. Next, I'm using my cuticle pusher to gently push back my cuticles and expose all my new growth. Next, I'm using my fine grit sanding band to go around the cuticle area and remove the shine from my natural nail, as well as etch the surface of the polygel nail, just so that the product can stick a little better. And I have my e-file set to about 4 RPMs because it doesn't have to be high. Again, I'm just removing the shine from the natural nail as well as any debris or cuticle that could be left on the surface. And since I cut these nails down, the tip of the nail is a little thicker than I would like. So I just use my sanding band to go underneath the nail to thin the nail out just a bit. Next, I'm using my cuticle nail drill bit to go around the cuticle area and really clean up those cuticles as much as possible. I do have my e-file set to about 5 RPMs. And again, I'm not applying any pressure at all. I'm pretty much letting the e-file do all of the work. And one thing, cuticle prep is really important, especially if you want your nails to last. So I definitely highly suggest that you make sure that you get your cuticles as clean as possible to prevent any lifting. Then I am using my cuticle ball bit to go around my cuticle area. And luckily, I did not have a lot of cuticles this time, so I did not have to nip my cuticles. So I'm just using the ball bit to go around the cuticle area, and this pretty much buffs the skin around the cuticle so that it's nice and smooth. And I do have my e-file set to about 5 RPMs. And again, I'm letting my e-file do all the work because I don't want to apply any pressure. Once prep is done, now it's time to prime. So I am priming the nails, just applying a small amount of primer to the natural nail only. And I forgot to mention, I did cleanse and dehydrate the nails before primer. And once the primer is nice and dry, then I am using Madam Glam's base coat. I'm just going to apply a very thin layer of the base coat to each nail, and then I'm going to cure these nails for 60 seconds. For today's set, I'm using Beetle's Polygel, the same color as before, 91% alcohol, and I actually have a new Polygel brush and I'm so excited to use it. And I'll definitely leave a link in the description box down below for this, as well as all of the products that I used in today's video. And I'll start by placing a small amount of polygel in the center of the nail. And then I use my nail brush to gently pat that product down and I push it back towards the cuticle area. I'm trying to pat and tuck the product in so that it is nice and flush with the cuticle area. And then I begin to kind of pull that product down towards the tip of the nail and get it as smooth as possible. One thing I learned is if you have a really good application, it definitely cuts down on your filing time, which if you've watched any of my videos before, you know I do not like to file. So I always try my hardest to get my application as smooth as possible. And when you're working with polygel, the product doesn't dry until it's cured. So you have as much time as you need to get this product as smooth as possible. And once I get the nail to my liking, I'll go ahead and zap cure this nail for about 10 seconds, just so that the product doesn't move. And then I move on to the next nail. Again, I am repeating the same steps. Place a small amount of the polygel in the center of the nail, and then I use the tip of my nail to kind of push that product back towards the cuticle area. Again, I'm using patting motions because I want the product to be as flat and as flush as possible to the cuticle area. And then I begin to drag that product down towards the tip of the nail. I want to get the nail as smooth as possible, but I also want to make sure that the nail is completely covered and it does have a nice structure. These are how the nails turning out so far, and I'm just going to let you all watch and enjoy as I complete this polygel application. If you have any questions or concerns about your polygel application, or any tips or tricks on how I can get my application any better, I'm always open to suggestions. You can definitely leave a comment down below and I will be sure to respond. And this is how my left hand turned out. Now I'm going to be doing my right hand using my non-dominant hand. And of course, I am repeating the same steps as before. I am going to apply a very thin layer of primer to each nail. And once the primer is fully dry, then I'm going to apply a very thin coat of this Madam Glam base coat to each nail, and then I'm going to cure these nails. Then I apply a small amount of polygel in the center of the nail. And just like before, I use my brush to go ahead and push that product back towards the cuticle area. Again, I am using patting motions, and I'm kind of patting and tucking the product into the cuticle area because I want to get it as flush as possible. I don't know what happened to the rest of that footage, but I'm going to move along and repeat the same step for my ring finger. I place a small amount of product in the center of the nail, and then I just use my brush to push that product back towards the cuticle area. Again, we're using a patting motion because I want the product to be nice and smooth and as flat as possible. Now, it is a little difficult because I am using my non-dominant hand. So, of course, my application isn't going to be as smooth as my left hand, but that is okay as long as the nail is completely covered and I am not flooding the cuticle area. I can go ahead and file and shape these nails to my desired taste. And once again, I am flash curing each nail after the application just so that the product stays in place. And I am going to cure the entire hand for a full 60 seconds once I'm done with all of the nails. And these are the nails after the polygel application. Off camera, I went ahead and used a little alcohol to wipe the nails down just to remove that sticky or tacky layer. Next, I am using my 80/80 nail grit file to file and shape the nails. Now, since I did a pretty decent job with the application, the filing process won't take too long. And also, I'm being very careful when I'm filing the nails because I don't want to file off too much. And this product is very easy to file. And once I'm done with my hand filing, I use my e-file and my fine grit sanding band to go around the cuticle area. I want to get this product as flush as possible so it looks like the nails are growing directly out of the cuticle area. And I have my e-file set to about 5 RPMs. And again, I am letting my e-file do all of the work, so I'm not applying too much pressure to these nails. And these are how the nails look once they have been filed, shaped, and buffed. Moving right along, I'll go ahead and cleanse those nails of any extra dust or debris. And now I am using Madam Glam's base coat once more. I'm just applying a very thin layer of the base coat to each nail. And then I'm going to cure these nails for 60 seconds. I am going to be doing some nail art today. So whenever I do any nail art to the nails, or whenever I'm applying any gel polish, I definitely make sure to apply a thin layer of base coat because it always helps the gel polish come out nice and smooth. For today's set, I'm using Madam Glam's Magic Night, and it's this really pretty, deep, rich blue color. And I'm just applying a very thin layer of this to my thumbnail. Again, when you're working with gel polish, you always want to use thin layers just so that the product cures properly and it doesn't bulk up the nail. And for my index finger, I decided I wanted a very thin French tip. So I'm using this Magic Night color once more with my Melody Susie striper brush to create a straight line across the tip of the nail. And then I'm going to create another straight line along the side walls. And then I'm just going to use my striper brush to create a curve in the corner where the two lines meet to help create a nice French tip. And then I repeat those same steps on my pinky finger, create a nice thin line across the tip of the nail, and then another straight line along the side walls of the nail, and then just create a curve to connect those lines and have a nice French tip. I am going to use my cleanup brush to clean up any excess gel polish and to kind of crispen up this French. And I'm loving this look so far. But for my middle finger and my ring finger, I decided to do some line work. You all know, if you watched my channel before, I love line work and abstract nails. So I'm just taking my time and being creative as to where I want the placement of my lines. And then I'm just letting the striper brush do most of the work. And these are how the nails turned out. They are so cute and I am so proud of my progress. I can't believe I did French tips on my right hand. These nails turned out so cute. As always, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next nail video.